start, just like to say, what's going on? It's your boy Famous Greg, and we back. Let's see what this man could have possibly did today, y'all. Like, cause people do some crazy things before they go to jail, and I'm just like, I be flabbergasted by the stuff that these folks could do, and you know what I'm saying, like, and then it be like, I ain't trying to be one of them, but man, white people, I don't know what they be thinking. Black folks got some fucked up minds too, but man, like I don't know, we can't just go through with it because of our parents or whatever, like how they raised us, like not to do no dumb shit, I guess. But man, white people, man, look, y'all need help, man. Sorry to say it, not sorry though at the same time, but man, them people need help. A detective tricks guilty, suspected confession. They always doing that, you know what I'm saying? Then we probably watch two videos, you know what I'm saying? Just to, have something to do on here. Probably watch two of them we actually go over to playing the video game. Oh, and on YouTube, I just dropped the first my career video. Yeah, I just dropped the first my career video. The second one should be dropping before tomorrow or by tomorrow morning. So be on the lookout for that second my career video. Y'all guys know what's going on. I'm making that second my career video. I already made it, actually. It's made. Just need to upload it, but I don't want to upload it until I make the third my career video. You get what I'm saying? So I can be ahead of myself. I feel like if I wake up and do it, if I wake up make a video, then gotta take time editing the video, then gotta take time from editing the video to publishing the video. You know what I'm saying? I feel like all that combined take about a day and a half, like realistically. Like just being able to edit consistently and like man, just get the content out to y'all, you know what I'm saying? But without further ado and all this talking, let's get into this video, man. Let's get it.
This is Grant Hardin, a 50-year-old police officer hiding a horrifying secret. Grant has been apprehended on suspicion of murder, but as it would later transpire, his crimes and behavior were so bad that in his interrogation, he tried everything he possibly could to escape. On the 23rd of February, James Appleton had pulled into a parking lot on Ganridge Road to take a phone call with his brother-in-law. Suddenly, a loud banging sound was heard over the phone, and the line went dead. A passerby had spotted a white Chevrolet Malibu parked behind James's car that immediately sped away after the loud noise. When the passerby went to check on James, he was lying dead at the wheel with a gunshot wound to the head. Gateway, Arkansas is a small town.
Like, what made the police officer kill this man? What did he do? Like, okay, y'all know I'm from Memphis, right? So the police stuff that just happened with dude, I guess he was talking to his wife or whatever, and they finally caught him at a stop doing a traffic stop. They traffic stopped him and beat him halfway to death and killed him. Now, from the video, you would have thought that man was fat. But turns out he's not fat at all, actually. He was just beat halfway to death.
Town of 400 people, so the owner of the Chevy was quickly
The town got 400 people and you killed somebody. And they already knew who the police was because you're a sheriff. Chief. Let's just go back a couple seconds to hear that again.
Check on James. He was lying dead at the wheel with a gunshot wound to the head. Gateway, Arkansas is a small town of 400 people, so the owner of the Chevy was quickly determined to be Grant Hardin, a 50-year-old police officer who had lived in this town his whole life. Later that night, Grant's vehicle was stopped at a police roadblock after taking his family out for dinner, and he was quickly brought in for questioning. But unfortunately for everyone involved, Grant's experience in law enforcement would prove to make this interrogation and difficult that Arkansas police had ever had to deal with.
I'm Detective Chamberlain. I know we have James Chamberlain. Okay. Did you used to be a police officer somewhere? I recognized you, but I wasn't 100% sure where I knew you from. But somebody said that you used to be a police officer at Gateway or something like that.
And then you see how the police be playing it. It's like, man, they be playing it so raw, like. But people, I mean, you'll know somebody, like, honestly just asking a question or just saying some shit to get you to say some shit. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that. Or doing something to that nature. If they just talking and trying their best to get you to say you did this, or but you know, like, the difference between, like, a police officer knowing what you done did, like, for sure, like, knowing that you was the one that did this or caused that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it be crazy. So they just be trying to see what you know and what else they don't know at the same time, man. The police is, man, who.
Okay.
The interrogation begins casually as Detective Chamberlain opens with questions about Grant's career. As they're both police officers, he assumes he can strike an immediate middle ground with him, building trust between them and hopefully getting him to relax so he'd give up information easier.
See, and then they saying giving up information and building trust. Man, I know what you trying to do if you bring me into an interrogation room. But it's like, it's no reason to lie. Like, if you gonna be bold enough to go and smoke somebody, man, go ahead and lay your ass down. It's that simple. You might well lay it down. If you gonna be bold enough to do it. And the only reason why people don't murder every other day is because it's illegal. And you gonna go to jail for it. Just that simple.
Strategy that he'd soon find out had the opposite effect. Grant has then read his rights, but decides this is where he's going to start making it difficult for the detectives.
Here's the thing. I want to talk to you about what you've done today, okay? Can you just take me through when you woke up this morning to when you got stopped by the police out there in, what's the name of that road that you're on? I'm sorry, I'm going to go drop. Gant Ridge?
I'm not going to say anything after I've been read those rights yet.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what's going on. I am kind of sickly to what I'm here for and things.
Up until this point, Grant hasn't been told what he's been brought in for, and states that he's feeling sickly given the circumstances he's been put into. Given his disturbing body language, he may also be feeling exposed and somewhat inferior due to being the suspect of a case instead of the detective for the first time in his life.
So,
But this just goes to show you, though, that they do be on top of the police's head, too. There's always a good cop somewhere. No matter how many bad ones it is in this world, there's always going to be somebody who got a pure heart. Or not even a pure heart, because there's no such thing as just a pure heart. But, bro, ain't no way.
you don't want to explain what you've done today? Did you? Is there a reason behind that?
What was the first thing said? I have the right to remain silent.
Okay. So you're telling me that you don't want to talk to me right now? Okay, cool. Hang tight right here for just a few minutes, okay?
As is normal in a case like this, the detectives leave the room for a few minutes to talk about how they're going to handle the interview. And not only does it give them time to formulate their approach, but it also gives the suspects time alone to worry about what could be going on and form anxiety regarding their situation. At the same time, though, it may also give the suspect a moment to collect their thoughts and generate their own story and approach to the interview, putting the detectives on the back foot instead.
By the way, I'm Detective Coordinator. I think we've met once before.
Probably so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I don't know if I scared you at the beginning or what, but that's why I was trying to, and I can't, you see the position that I'm in. I can't tell you why you're here, but at the same time, I need to rule you out into something. Does that make sense?
When the detective...
You can't tell me why I'm here, but you just arrested me. But, like, it's crazy because anybody can play themselves in situations like that. Either the detective can play themselves or the suspect can play themselves. It's just depending on how scared the suspect is and how calm they are. Everything that happens is based off the suspect rather than the detective. because all they doing is telling you what's going on. Eventually telling you what's going on, why you here. But it's up to you not to slip up and say the wrong things that lead them to being like, okay, it was for showing him. Now we got him. Boom. We got him here. We got him. Boom. You get what I'm saying?
Detectives re-enter the room. They try an obviously different approach, this time attempting to set Grant at ease, stating that they just need to clear him from any wrongdoing, and then he's free to go on his way. Many people would at least subduing, and then...
See, there you go. They saying they basically need to make sure he wasn't around whenever the stuff happened, but they know it was his truck because there's only 400 people in the town. You know, only sheriff with police on it, they got a truck like that, obviously. That's why they was able to pull you up so fast. So not only was you a dumb criminal, but you can't try to be a dumb criminal and then get smart at the end. It's too late. I'd rather you be smart and then get dumb at the end. I'd rather for you not to do either, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Be smart about how you gonna do it. If you was gonna do it, if you was gonna kill that old man, you shouldn't have even been in that car to begin with. But we ain't on your side. Let me stop talking about what you should have did. You finna get caught.
This time attempting to set Grant at ease, stating that they just need to clear him from any wrongdoing, and then he's free to go on his way. Many people would, at least subconsciously, be inclined to open up a little more in an attempt to get out of there as soon as possible. But Grant has other ideas.
Would you be willing to talk to me about your day, knowing that I need to rule you out of something?
I'm doing something right now. Come back at 5.
Thing, or I'm just, if you didn't do anything wrong today, you have nothing to worry about.
Yes, I would have liked to, but before
Yeah.
the rights were read. So
Okay.
not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, and you understand as a detective, we read those rights to everybody who comes in here. It's not just you. It happens to everybody that walks through this room and talks to us.
As a former police officer, Grant is fully aware of all of this. He knows everybody that's interviewed, innocent or not, has to be read these rights, which essentially completely invalidates this as the real reason that he isn't talking. He's just using it as an excuse to refuse to talk, and possibly to even stall for time.
I guess my question is this, knowing what I just told you, I guess if it was me and I was, if I was in your position, I'd be like, hey, James, I did this, or Grant, I did this, I was at, here, and here, and I would just be done with it. But at this...
Because you get what I'm saying? It's just that simple. If you know you ain't do it, you gonna tell me you was there, here, and everything, and it's gonna check out because you was there. You get what I'm saying? But if you gonna be quiet off the meat rat, you gave yourself up. You ain't got no real alibi. You can't tell them where you ain't got nothing. But besides, you don't want to talk. And he right by him being a detective, he know that everybody get read those rights. That's crazy.
At this point, I can't clear you from this because you could still potentially be a suspect. I don't know if I'm not explaining it right or what is going on here.
It fine. I just have to, once the rights have been read, I have to, it says I have the right to be silent.
Yes. Okay. Just tell me this. I know you were a police officer before, right? You're
I ain't a police officer now. Talking about before. He's still a police officer. He just killed somebody, in his truck. At least we gotta figure out why he did it. Why he killed this man.
a police officer in Gateway. It's an easy yes or no.
I'm being silent.
Well, I can see that. We can do this all night. I mean, it doesn't bother me. You're going to continue to be a suspect until I find out otherwise.
Okay.
Unfortunately for the detectives, Grant is exercising perfect form within this interrogation. Refusing to talk greatly hinders the investigation as a whole and completely prevents the detectives from making progress.
Boom. So, like he said, you can do it all night and sit there and be quiet, but they ain't gonna make no progress as long as you try not to talk. Especially if you the one who actually did it. If you did it and you make them have to go around the whole circle trying to figure out if you actually did it, I mean, but like that's why like they can't use DNA. I mean, not DNA tests, but like lie detector tests. Cause most people will be like, oh well, why they just want why they just won't have lie detector tests or whatever or whatnot. Man, a lie detector test based off like your heart rate, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. So like, if you already been interrogated, well, I don't know how a lie detector test really work, honestly. Like, but I think that'll be crazy. Like the reason why they, I don't know what. I think that's the reason though why they don't use them because it ain't no real reason.
While being completely legal. This is why Detective Chamberlain is starting to appear visibly annoyed and decides to take a break from the interrogation, as letting emotions take control in an investigation like this can be extremely dangerous for the detectives. But, once again, this time alone can also give the suspects the chance to come up with a plan.
Hello, I need to go.
I was interrogated one
You need to
time,
go where?
and I couldn't. And it was like, well, I was handcuffed to a chair. You know how they do us. They handcuffed me to a chair. This dude walking around freely, and he a murder suspect. And I wasn't even nothing close to that.
Home or get ready for work in a little bit.
Okay, we'll just have a seat and I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
the other officer want to talk to me again. What's going on?
I'm just ready to go.
Okay. I'm not ready for you to go yet, so you're not going to be able to go. I've got other things that I'm doing right now, so.
All right, I just wanna.
So like, they can hold you to show yeah, I'm guessing, obviously.
I was gonna go.
Oh, no, you're not
I
going to
tell
go.
you that.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're not going to
But
go.
I want. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oddly enough, in many other investigations like this, now is around the time where an officer may attempt to come to a decision regarding the suspect. The interview is obviously at a complete standstill and no progress is being made in any direction. The standard protocol would be to either gather the information needed to charge the suspect for a crime or release them based on a lack of evidence. But whether the detective thinks he can extract more information or if it was an ego-based decision, Grant is told to stay and continue the interrogation. The police then try to take some time to piece together more of the story, talking to witnesses to try and place Grant at the scene of the crime. Despite his silence being perfectly legal and acceptable, it greatly increases the detective's suspicion towards him. Suspicion that's only heightened.
Told you. You get. Excuse me about that. But it's more suspicious if you don't. So, I mean, that's a great detective too. At the end of the day, for him to be going up against a man who's been doing this for probably well over I say anything from about 10 to 15 probably years before he probably even started being a police officer. No. I don't know. It don't say how long he was a police officer. So I'm just saying. But hey.
When Grant's wife says that his only alibi was that she thought he was spreading grass seeds at the time of James's death. All signs point towards Grant, and Detective Chamberlain goes back in for round 3.
Detective Cordero is talking to your wife right now. I talked to her a little bit. So I kind of got a timeline of where you were and where you weren't today. We all know what happened, okay? I'm not trying to get you in any trouble. I'm not trying to get her in any trouble. You got a little daughter, 16, who...
Look, there you go. Bringing up the folks' kids. You gonna say you got a daughter who's 16 who need her parents. So if you say, boom, she ain't gonna have her parents. It'd be crazy.
Needs her parents, okay? I don't know if you've had a problem with this guy for a while, or in this...
Oh, he probably had a problem with her for a minute. They both old. But I don't mean you kill him though.
Was it an accident, or you maliciously chased him down, or what happened? But if I don't get your side of the story, I won't ever know. We're writing a book. You got chapter 1, you got chapter 2, and chapter 3. Chapter 1 is what happened today, what started out today, how your day started. Chapter 2 is what led up to the incident, and chapter 3 is you telling me about what happened to lead you up to that. I know you went to eat, out tonight. I know what you said at dinner. I know that you went to Lowe's afterwards. I know everything, but I don't know what caused the incident. And if I don't know that, I've got to assume the worst. I'll let you think about it. I'll give you one more chance here in a few minutes, and I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm telling you that.
Well, what happened?
I know, you know. We have witnesses that put you there. They physically ID'd you. The 2 cars that drove by. Look, man, I just want to know why it happened. I'm going to sleep good tonight regardless.
Boom. See, it's like, now if he say, I still don't know what you're talking about. If he don't handcuff him, all that he just said was a bunch of BS, man. All that, everything was like, it ain't even that it's BS, but it's like, it's just to pull his bluff. But if he holds strong in him and come back harder, it's like, okay, boom, you don't finna let you go, or you just get put on the arrest for murder. Because we already have witnesses and all this stuff that IDs you. But he sitting here telling him he just want to know why he did it.
I don't think you will.
At the time of the murder, when the 2 cars were parked up beside each other, the man in the white Chevrolet waved the passerby past before the gun was fired. As they passed, they were able to get a good look at the driver. And unfortunately for Grant... it was Andrew Tillman, another resident of the small town who had known him since he was a child. And
dang.
and was hence able to undoubtedly place him at the scene of the crime as the gun went off. Child.
I don't think you will.
At the time of the murder, when the 2 cars were parked up beside each other, the man in the white Chevrolet waved the passerby past before the gun was fired. As they passed, they were able to get a good look at the driver. And unfortunately for Grant, it was Andrew Tillman, another resident of the small town who had known him since he was a child, and was hence able to undoubtedly place him at the scene of the crime as the gun went off. Both Grant and Chamberlain know...
Somebody who saw him, who knew him since he was a child, that's crazy.
Oh, without a doubt what happened to James. But Grant also knows that his only chance of escaping is to continue to remain silent and pray that they can't gather the evidence they need. The detectives are now forced to try almost anything they can think of to get movement out of Grant, starting with allowing him to see his wife and daughter in hopes that it will invoke some sort of emotional reaction within him and get him to talk.
Your wife's about to leave. She wanted to get you a hug before she left. Are you good with that?
Okay.
All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
Unfortunately, even this doesn't work. So instead, Detective Cordiero decides to return alone with a more calm and sympathetic demeanor in a second attempt to build trust with Grant. Often, male suspects are more likely to build a subconscious connection with female detectives due to them often thinking that they're less threatening and more understanding. Realistically, this is the last option the detectives have.
All right. Get ready to say about laying down up on that desk, but it looks awful hard.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be any more comfortable up there than what you are now. Can you help me understand how we got to this point?
I don't know.
I don't know. Man, I remember being on patrol and running into you one night. Help me out on a call, back me up.
Oh,
It was way back in, I guess almost 3 years now.
well,
two.
Yeah, I felt
You see it, Jason.
Yeah, something like that.
you guys are always good to help us, help me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brad, you always stay right there, man.
Cordero opens up with an anecdote about how Grant apparently backed her up on a case 3 years ago. Even though he doesn't necessarily remember it, this will give him the idea that Cordero will be even more sympathetic and helpful towards him as he's done her a favor in the past. It also allows them to continue reminiscing about their time on the force and the people they've worked with, further strengthening the subconscious bond Grant will be creating.
I just don't understand how we got to this point.
Yeah, me neither.
You're willing to talk,
Oh, I'm just ready to go to bed.
I don't blame you. Me too. Me too. And we could do that. You just talk to me.
Well, I just have to, since you read those rides, I have to do the ride.
Well, what's the difference?
You know the difference?
Regardless of something happened or not, and if it did, if it was an accident, well, tell me. Like, help me help you. Like, I want to know what I can do or what happened today to be able to explain it later.
I don't know what happened today. I just need to.
You know, people are going to have questions. Your family.
Well, I have questions.
Well, exactly.
So
why can't we figure this out together?
Cordero is making a conscious effort to use inclusive language, such as, "We will figure this out together." This and her open and expressive body language are both techniques she's using to make Grant feel more relaxed, and as though he's part of the solution, not the problem. She's also making every effort to be nice to Grant, in hopes that maybe he'll finally open up to her, or at least give her a way in.
We can start from the very beginning. I mean, I know you probably slept in because you work nights. I work nights. Trust me, I worked nights for almost 4 years. I understand how that sleep schedule is.
yeah, sleep's all
So,
messed up.
did you sleep in today? Yeah, I bet you did. You could have got to work tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What time did you get up?
Yes.
Around noon. That's usually what time I got up too. Did you watch anything good on TV? Usually that's what I do. I'd eat and watch TV. I'll woke myself up a little bit. Anything good?
Same old stuff
Oh yeah?
on TV.
You watch the same episodes? Or like, do you have a specific TV show you would wake up and watch?
Well, we watched, my wife always has it on the, I can't remember what channel it's called, right now, TV Land.
Oh, okay. I haven't really watched any of that. I couldn't even tell you what it was about. Does your wife like that?
Oh, well, I think she'd better watch other stuff, but
Yeah.
It might not be about the case, but finally, Grant is talking, and Cordero has found her way in. If she can keep the flow of this conversation up, she might be slowly able to extract information from him even without him knowing. Talking about specifics such as TV shows and sleep schedules, even that could lead to catching him in a lie, and placing him in certain places at certain times. But most importantly, she's building a connection with him and continuing to let him talk, which increases the chance that he either slips up or decides to make it easier on the detectives and answer a question. But predictably, as soon as Cordero started asking him to talk about the case again, he shut down once more, refusing to answer any more questions and staying silent.
I think you have a lot to live for. Beautiful family, who I've had the privilege of talking to. The way I look at it is, you're a man. Men face their mistakes and they own up to them. And they figure out what happened and figure out how to solve it and move on. Like I said, I'm honestly here to help you. I want you to understand that. I wouldn't spend my time in here with you if I didn't. And that something happened today that needs to be explained. Did you make a mistake today?
Even after reminding him of his family, Grant doesn't move an inch, again realizing that his only chance of being let off is to not speak and hope they don't find anything.
I like you, I like this fella that was a detective here, and I don't care about any of that and stuff, and I just don't know how to I've never had this happen before, being brought in and interrogated for something, so I really don't care, but I just don't know how to be silent, sitting over here looking like a jerk.
No, you're not. Honestly, you were far from that. You're very polite. Don't you know why you're here?
I appreciate you guys, and I'm just gonna get a lawyer.
Yeah, it's up to you.
But
You can
obviously something's going on, and I need one.
I just want to hear your side, but
I want to get a lawyer.
After hours of almost pointless back and forth, Grant finally asks for a lawyer, meaning the detectives can no longer question him, and concludes the interrogation. But this is far from where the story ends. Between this interrogation and the final court hearing, Grant and his lawyer both realized that there was simply no way he was going to be released scot-free. Not only was there a man at the scene of the crime who all but saw him pull the trigger, people were also starting to realize that he'd actually either been fired or resigned from 3 different police force jobs before becoming the chief of police in his hometown. So, on October 16th, 2017, he pleaded guilty to the first-degree murder, but refused to reveal his motive, leaving each member of James Appleton's family without closure to this day. However, as Grant was being prosecuted, a shocking revelation was made that turned him, a murderer, into a senseless monster of a human being. As his DNA was being taken, they realized it was already in the system, under an unknown name, for a crime committed almost 20 years ago. In November of 1997, a teacher at Frank Tillery Elementary School went to the teacher's lounge bathroom only to be met by a man brandishing a gun that forced her into a stall. The man then raped her and fled, taking care not to touch anything or leave evidence behind, except for the he left on her clothes. Local police did everything they could to identify the perp, but after 20 months of effort, the investigation went cold until 20 years later when Grant Hardin's DNA was found to be a perfect match. And because Rogers police had obtained a John Doe warrant back in 2003, allowing them to arrest an unknown suspect and bypass the statute of limitations, he was hit with the 14-year sentence for his on top of the 21 years for the murder of James Appleton. And as such, Grant Hardin was sentenced to 35 years in prison, meaning that he'll likely live out the rest of his life behind bars.
Dying.